back, Hot Nerd Network family. Today we are discussing Power Book 3, Season 3, Raising Kanan, Episode 9. I'm your host, Hot Nerd D, and today we have the lovely Hot Nerd Syd joining us. So say hi, Syd.
What's tea? Hey, y'all.
Yeah, so happy that you were able to join us. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But yes, let's get to it. First, starting with the episode's recap. So this episode starts out with Lou speeding down the street, hitting a car on his way to the liquor store that he ended up robbing. Afterwards, he goes missing, causing Rock to have to use Detective Howard to find him. Juliana's cousin surrounds Ronnie while he was waiting to meet for more product to tell him that essentially she is dead and they are no longer in business, or at least he is now without a supply. Um, Marvin and Rock are expanding their business utilizing trucks to carry their products to different restaurants to be sold as a part of a special order. Famous overhears Shirley talking to Lowell, someone who's managing an independent label who wants to invest in his music career. Detective Burke's father wants to keep putting pressure on Detective Howard on what his daughter was trying to figure out. He does conclude, though, that he could have persuaded Nicole's dad to press charges or to open up an investigation for Detective Burke, which was true, and that he is possibly connected to organized crime, which is also true.
Yep.
While Juke and her girl group Butter performed in front of a huge audience that attracted influential people in the music industry, the FBI definitely showed up and questioned her because of her connection with Nicole. Gerald admits to Marvin that he was an informant for the FBI, trying to get information on him in exchange for custody of his children. We definitely see, the demise of Gerald this episode, and sad to say that he is now gone. The episode does end, though, as well, with Ronnie, Snaps, and Pop threatening Kanan to get rid of Rock, aka his mother. And we also see Rock and Marvin driving Lou, which looks like, in the dark depths of we don't know where. And so, yes, I will pause there for this episode, and I want to get a take on what stood out to you or what was your favorite part.
Okay, yeah, there was so much, but first off, it's like, man, Omar Epps has just gone from being like a real heartthrob crush to me to just, man, to see him lie like this. I'm like,
Right.
you are really selling it. Like, oh my gosh, the way that he had his captain pausing and like, oh my gosh, is he really serious? Is he not? Is this white man trying to take this black man down during Black History Month? Like, it's just crazy. So I don't know that everything that's going on though right now just feels like there's so much. What you just said, there's so much going on with so many people. I can't imagine that there's not one person not getting some sort of like development in their story. I was so proud to see Famous like, doing his thing. I was like, oh, okay, you get connected with Rich versus like, the music. And it's sad though that, he's reliant on Lou, who just feels like he's spiraling. And it's like, oh my gosh, Lou, like that's the saddest part to see, the alcoholism there. But yeah, it's just a crazy episode. As far as my favorite part, I really enjoyed Jukebox, like, just being up on that stage. It was giving, I don't know, just giving like the 90s. Like, oh sorry, what time first?
It is the 90s.
Okay, good. I was about to say it was giving 90s, and I was like, this is just such a, like, that was the girl group era. And
Mhm.
I love like performance and just performing, and it's just like they just did it up. They were so great. And to see her come from, episode 3 till now, it's like, wow, you're really living out your dream. And I know we've talked about, like, we have seen Jukebox when she's like way older, and obviously she didn't have her dream like fully realized in the way that she wanted to, but it's just nice to see her live out her dream at some point in time, because she'll always have those memories, that she was able to prove it to herself in that way. So that was my favorite.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the conversation that she was having with Rock in the restaurant. Like,
Yes.
you
Another
know,
great
I'm just
moment.
happy, for you. I'm just happy that you're actually able to, just live out your dream, because they were talking about, which we do probably see the route that she's have to go down, like her joining the military, of course, her joining the police force, as we know from the original Power series. But,
Yeah.
I think that conversation, was just reflective of how we all really feel about Jukebox in, just being able to see her perform, to be able to see her sing, to be able
Yeah.
to see her like really do the things that, that she really wanted, and, to go after her dream, for even though we know going to be, like you said, like short lived, it was almost like that was like the pinnacle of, at least, just some sort of like peaceful moment, or just some sort of like joy that she can always like hold on to, and, at least know that she put in the work to actually get there. Like she went to all the opportunities, or she went through all the hoops to right actually get there. And then, to see it just ripped, right under her, or right from under her.
With the
When the
FBI.
FBI was there
Yeah.
showing up, just ruining her moment. Like, I did really feel that, like, when she was saying, like, when they were questioning her, like, you just ruined, probably the most important experience of my life right now. And,
Yeah.
like, you're sitting here asking me, you know, nonsense,
Stupid stuff.
yeah, nonsense questions, where it's like, well, you're not even asking the right person. Like,
Right.
you're not even asking who was really, involved in some of the things that you're actually talking about. And now this is all at the expense of my future. Like,
Exactly.
I think that is what I thought was important, that was highlighted. Like,
Yeah.
for all of those things, like, you have to understand that, people's livelihoods and things are just, hanging in the balance. And how now it's like, where of course now she has to, change the trajectory. And now, like, we're seeing, I guess, like, what led to that. Like, because of course, if things were going good and we were all rooting for her, like, in
Yeah.
this girl group for this long, like, we were definitely going to see something drastic or something big,
Yeah.
have to happen to kind of rip that away from her, to like change her course. And so it's like, it's just sad that it was after, like, this moment, like, just
Yeah.
a gleaming, like, you're just high up on the mountain, to just be kind of just drop down, like, so far low, like, afterwards. So,
I completely agree. And the I was about to call Facebook. The FBI man said it like kind of like a premonition, almost like, it's hard to move away from bad families. You think that that stuff's not going to stick on you, but it will. And one day you'll wake up and realize and see it's like, dang, why are you putting this on me? I don't have your life, but it feels like that's kind of like the way her life is about to go. So just
mhm.
sucks.
I know. And it's like, yeah, don't speak that on me, even
Yeah,
if actually a lot of it is very
it's fair.
factual and might actually be my experience. It's like,
Like,
I don't want
dang.
you to say it, right? It's like, I don't want you to talk about it. And then another part, though, that really stuck out to me, of course, was Gerald in this episode. Of course, like, we saw their budding friendship. We did start to see him just switch up, starting to get a little bit too curious about, Marvin's other activities outside of the things that they do with each other. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is good. This is getting weird. Gerald, where are you going with this? And then we did finally see, before he told Marvin that he was working with the FBI. But, it was just sad, their last scene, because I think you can see the hurt in both of them. Like, first, with him, like, all of this has happened over things that, Marvin has like constantly throughout this entire season have, tried to warn him, tried to even
Yeah.
help him, just try to get some help, even tried to step in and, help him like with his kids. And so, to see, and to even see him still wanting to hang around him, even though he just found out what just happened. He's like, you didn't, you just hear me? I was out do,
Yeah.
or, not even out, but just doing something, and, as a result to that. And he's just, and then even still, Marvin's like, okay, like, this is messed up, like, this is bad, but we could still, work this out, or, like we could still try to, you know, find some sort of like silver lining in all of this. And then, on top of that, he's like, but I have to also be truthful and transparent on the other end that I
You
also
just dropped all that on him. I was like, "Whoa, oh,
right.
okay."
He was like, okay, this is where I draw the line. Interestingly enough, it's like, no, I don't draw the line, with your child, what just happened with your child, but I do draw the line with you, speaking to the FBI, especially mentioning my name. But
Quick
I
question for
just
you
think
though.
when he mentioned that, he was like, wow, like after, all that I've
Yeah,
tried to help you with, that
yeah.
all that I tried to, do for
You
you. And this
still,
is,
yeah,
in a way like how you repay me, or this is what
yeah,
you do. And it's like, I do think we do have to give Gerald a little bit of grace. So he's like, hey, like my kids, were hanging in the balance of this decision. Like, I have tried to also be a good friend to you. Um, even within that, although I wasn't, as transparent or as honest as I could have been, which is,
mhm,
just telling you what is happening, at the same time, I definitely think, he was definitely in a hard place and had to make a very hard decision. And then even at the end tried to even reconcile that. But, I
yeah,
definitely think, like as we discussed even in past recaps, it's like sometimes it's like a little too late, or
right,
now, you can't necessarily clean house now, like when
yeah,
everything's already said and done. It's like, my name is already being brought up to them, I'm already a person of interest, like. And now, my livelihood, like you said, like I could end up in jail for this, like.
right.
So it was just sad, I think, like on just both ends, because it's just like that hurt for Marvin to be like, I was just, working so hard to, try to cultivate a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship with someone. And, the moment I do that, and the moment I'm trying to be vulnerable and open, this is somebody's doing that, or somebody's, stabbing me in the back while it's
Yeah.
happening. And then on Gerald's end, like, I'm I don't have an option, or it doesn't seem as though I do, like whether it's between my kids or you, like, that's a very hard obviously decision to make. So, yeah, it
You
just
bring up such great points. Like, I I could see because first I was like, "Damn, Gerald," but like you're right in the sense of, he had to make sure that he wasn't going to be taken away from his kids so that he could try to raise them. But like they were AA partners, right? Like
for
that's
anger management. Well, I think uh Marvin was in there for like anger management, but I think it was just like a
an anger.
overall, yeah, like an anonymous group, yeah, for them to work out some things.
Yeah, to work out some things, yes. And there's a lot of trust that's built into that. So I'm sure that was very violating to Marvin to just like that he did
Yeah.
that. I hope to your point he doesn't take it too personally. I mean, I can understand if he did, but like that's why he I think it was fair for Marvin to like walk away from their friendship even for a while, but not to kill him. Like if Marvin killed him, that would have been like damn, like Gerald. He even Gerald was like, I didn't give them anything on you because I didn't have anything on you. Like we never really talked about anything crazy or anything like that. So I think he thought it was like the best of both worlds, to try to appease everybody.
Yeah. But Marvin was definitely picking up on a lot of hints in previous episodes where he's like, why are you asking me this? What is this? Because he was thinking he was writing a piece on Jukebox this whole time. And he's like, wait, why are you asking me about, my
Mm,
connection to here, there, this, that, and the third? He's like, you need to stay, in your place over there and let me handle and do what I do over here. And so it is, I think a buddy relationship that we were in a way excited for, because, we definitely saw both of them in a way somewhat helping each other out, like in their own journeys. So, to see it like end in this manner, it's like, dang, sad to see,
really.
Marvin's, I guess, even like work, or like the work that he was doing in himself, like, not to say go to waste, but definitely, just a sore spot for him. So, like you said, like I hope this doesn't make him want to like, retract or, regress a lot of the work that he's been doing,
Right.
because of this moment. So
Exactly. No, I definitely feel that way. And I was gonna say that what's it called? I don't know. I'm just really I totally blanked, but I'm just really excited to see what, like, Marvin is going to do in terms of seeing that Gerald is, I mean, not excited, but like seeing that he's dead, and it's like, dang, I don't know if he's going. I know that you said that they're not going to pin it on him, but I'm worried that they might. I'm worried that they might.
I hope not. I hope not, because it's like, just out of all the things Marvin has actually really very much done in his
He's
very
not
young
done
life,
that.
this is just not one of them. So it just be like, you just once again looking in the wrong direction, asking Jukebox the wrong question, asking the wrong person the wrong questions, and then once again trying to pin something on someone that really wasn't at fault at all for it. So
Yeah.
I just would not want to see that. But where do you think they're taking Lou? Do you think they're taking him to, put him down as he thinks? Or do you think they're like, maybe taking them to a family member's house or somewhere? Because I think it was definitely purposeful. They didn't want us to see, before the episode ended where. So that definitely leaves a lot of things open. So what do you think?
Why would Rock go hard in the paint to be like, listen, Howard, I'm not giving up Marvin. Like, this is my brother. Why would she do that if she's
Mm.
gonna turn around and try to like kill Lou? Like, unless her and Marvin have some secret special relationship, why would she do that?
It's I mean, you bring up an interesting point because Lou, like up until this point, has given her many reasons, to just take him out, in this case, or what she wants to do, and hasn't done that yet. And in every instance has tried to protect him, whether that was, getting Howard to find him so that, someone else didn't find him, or, so that someone else didn't have to question him and he might say some more things like, even trying to get his mom to babysit him, which was so backwards, from the last episode. So I agree. Like, I don't think she would have gone to such lengths, if she really did and ultimately want to just put him down as, it seems. But I do also think at the same time that now the things that he is starting to disclose and the things that he is really starting to say is now for sure threatening all of their livelihoods, and especially Kanan's. So, and that I do think she does put as a priority, and I would say even possibly over her brothers, as to who she's trying to protect. So that it's almost like she kind of like Gerald, like feeling as though she doesn't have a choice. It's literally might be I have to choose my kid, or something else. And of course, to Rock, we have always seen like that is the only time she ever somewhat folds, or goes back on something that she said. It is typically for Kanan. So I now think,
Yeah.
especially since he's um of course with Scrappy's mom, all these things that and of course how he has not stopped drinking, he's still causing a lot of havoc. It's like at this point, have I done all that I could do, or
Right.
you know is there still something else that could be done? And so
Yeah.
I think for like the way that it's been framed, it truly could go either way. Like, I do think again, Rock does value her family and, doesn't, just haphazardly want to, kill her own brother. But at the same time, we do know her main priority, or what her, number one priority has always been, which is
Hell yeah.
Kanan. And then, even too, with the business, like now her
Yeah.
livelihood is tied up into this too, and so it's like I can't you know have anything being messed up there, because then that's on me. So
Hell yeah.
I definitely think Lou, I want him to get like, even like he was saying in the car, like, I'm not ready. Like, I don't, I don't want to go out like this either. I don't want him to either. I do,
Yeah,
somehow, some way want him to just get the help that he needs. But, just begs that question, like, is it too late? And are we at that point where there is no more,
right.
fixing? There is no, we can't put
Yeah,
a band-aid on this one, like this
yeah,
is kind of far beyond that. So
yeah. I completely get you. I do, and you make a good point because I was gonna try to say she and Kanan have gone back and forth so much, and she still tries to come through for him. But that's, I would imagine, a different thing when it comes to your child versus like that's heavy though versus your brother. It's like those are just some heavy choices to have to make. But what isn't heavy in the Power universe? They always, goodness,
I mean,
drama.
interesting that that is her crutch when other things we have seen across the board in a lot of show or a lot of
But
Power
those
shows.
were fathers with their sons, not a
Yeah,
mother with her son. Okay.
very true, very true. Well, um we do have to talk about Monet and
Oh well, that's
and
very
Cosmic Chick.
fair.
She's
Hey yo,
she I think they're
you
like
make
neck
a
and
good
neck.
point. You know
So,
what? Let me not gender this situation. Let me not, because you make a great point. Monet
right.
doesn't care. Okay.
So, right, like where this thing where, family isn't necessarily off limits, where we have seen that in show after show, season after season. So, it just also, even, I guess, when it does come to Kanan as well, like we do see, yes, one that he is still her number one priority, but, at the end of the day, can he also become another Lou where it's like you're gonna, push it so far where things can't just I can't fix this, and now my only option is gonna be X, Y, Z, and so it just makes me think that I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess like their familial, like, connection right now is almost all thin ice. Like, it's almost like everybody has one more, thing. And I think for Lou, it's like, no, you did strike three, and now we have to deal with that. But I feel like Kanan and Rock, I feel like he's like on strike two, about to get on that last one where it's like maybe, there will be some sort of thing that can also even make Kanan an enemy towards her too. So I just wonder because it makes me think when you're saying that though about Rock, like where Unique, like in the previous seasons, he was saying that, like, you are, very prominent in this business and you are very powerful, but we all see that Kanan is your weakness. Like, we all can see that and we all know that. And, no matter how much you try to say, like, you know, that's not necessarily a factor, or like that's not something that kind of drives your decisions, it very much does. And he mentioned that he was like, because you are a mom, like you birthed him, like like you were pregnant with him, it is a little, it does, he did mention like it is different with me and my son because I don't have that piece of it. Like, although of course I love my child and I am his father, like there's still that other, kind of connection piece that, I just would never be able to relate to or experience because I didn't go through it, kind of thing.
For sure. Yeah, no. I think that this is interesting even from a personality lens, of Rock, for my Myers-Briggs lovers out there, she's an ENTJ, and the in part of that means that she's very much future oriented, but sometimes can't always see everything that's going on in the present. I know that she's definitely very, like, she can organize people. She can get, because her first function is TE, so she can definitely understand what the, like, everybody's uses are and put them to the test. But I think, like, with even comparing her to Monet, Monet is an ESTJ, and so she is more
Mhm.
in the present. She is more thinking like, how are you best serving me right in this moment? Not what will I think of you, 5, 10 years from now. Like Rock is probably thinking. So with people, it doesn't surprise me that people are having to tell her, listen, you might not see it, but we see it right here and now, that you're
Mhm.
still trying to get out of this whole thing with Kanan by your side,
Yep. Yep. That is truly her goal, what she wants to do. And, they're just making it very clear.
Yeah,
It kind of just gets closer and closer to that decision of like now she's even they're in a way Kanan and Rock are being tasked each other, like from
yeah,
both of the people that they, are working with. Like you have to get rid, someone has to get rid of the other. And now like now we're like seeing like what is truly gonna come of that, which was like you said, like foreshadowed
yeah,
for the past previous seasons, like hey, we see that you're doing things well, but Kanan is your crutch, like Kanan is definitely
yeah.
something that we're gonna be able and know that we can exploit to a degree. So it just almost makes me think too, just how ruthless can Rock get, or where's
Hell
her
yeah.
boundaries, I guess, in all this, or like where's the line again going to be drawn for
Yeah.
her.
Absolutely. Girl, yes. Yes to the boundary piece. How far will it be pushed? And
Mhm.
I wonder if, to your early question, if Lou is that piece, if Lou is that boundary, if Lou's like, this is it, you've crossed it.
Right, because I feel like in a way, like if she does have courage to take out Lou, then like what would then stop her then from Kanan? Like it's almost
That's what I'm
like that
saying.
was the initial test, and it's like if I could get through that, then you know, anything can go. Like, y-
You know what's so interesting? Like, did you I know you didn't. You didn't watch Ozark, did you?
I didn't.
Girl, Ozark's the white version of all this. And it's just hilarious because, no spoilers, but there was a woman like Rock who had to make a
Mhm.
hard decision about her brother and him fucking up the empire for her family. So it's just like, it's crazy. This, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to like, all of
Right.
this, power, anger, so much there. So much.
And yeah, I mean, it's because of, the industry that they're in or the business
Yeah.
they're in. It just costs a lot. It just, there's a lot always at stake. And it's sometimes, more than what we can afford, or, we figure that out later that, oh, wow, I actually really can't afford, the cost of what it takes to really in a way be successful in this for the long run,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's always like I can have a lot of power, I can have a lot of things, for maybe a short-lived time, but one, someone's gonna be looking, trying to take my spot, and then two, it's like I know within that they're going to try to be exploiting and looking for my weaknesses. And so since hers is just so much and very much out in the open, it's I don't know. I don't want it to work against her. I like Rock. I feel as though she for sure very diabolical, but
Hell yeah.
she at the
This
same time it's like
so
she does
good.
still make it very clear, like yes, these are very hard decisions. Like these aren't decisions that, can just are just so like easy 1 2 3. Yeah, it is life or death in a lot of these things, because she always mentions that to Lou anytime he does bring up scrap, like like I we shouldn't have had to do that or XYZ. And she's just like, well, I can admit maybe he didn't have to die, or maybe that was a wrong call, but that's what it takes. That's the cost of this. That's what that's what it takes. And I think that she's just been at least more, and this has definitely come up in our recaps over this whole season, like, that she at least tries to acknowledge, even though she doesn't necessarily sometimes wants to take responsibility, for really what is going on. Like, at least I can acknowledge what is happening, and that yes, it's hard, or yes, that sucked, and yes, it was life or death, but I see you guys aren't making those calls, like I see you guys aren't really, putting having to deal with a lot of the aftermath that I have to deal with. So, Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is not a pretty business. This is not, roses,
Right.
sunshine and roses every day. Like there are going to be times where it's going to be hard and the decisions are not going to be, so easy, but they still have
Right.
to be made. And they still, things still have to continue on.
Right.
Whether we agree, whether we like it or not. Um
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was a lot to unpack, even just off the recap. So even
That's what I said. There was a lot going on. Like I'm like every single character actually has like some a lot of stuff going on. Like it's not like, surface level. The most surface level is famous and he's actually doing something. Like, it's not like he's just la di da over here as a character
Mhm.
device. Everybody is in some deep shit right now.
Yep. And then even with famous though, it's like he almost for real, like encouraged Lou to open up and to start like sharing a lot of these things. So he was almost like
Yeah.
the catalyst to get him to go and confess to Scrappy's mom, which is now, the reason he's in the position he's in now. So
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, it's almost, we even discussed that too on the previous recap. Like, is it helpful or is it hurtful to be confessing things in this sort of context, in this sort of environment? I mean, I'm sure, for famous, if it feels good to get those things off and, for him to have a good song and to, have people wanting to, invest in that now. But, is that really going to help him or
Right.
help any of them in the long run? Only time will tell, I guess, with some of those kinds of situations. But, even to go into some of the themes, a major theme that I saw this episode, and we even began touching on it as well, is the theme of karma and, having some sort of destiny or some sort of things happening after, like a series of events. So karma can be good and karma can be bad. But what do you think of like the element of karma, and how did you see that kind of like played out like in this episode? Because what comes to mind for me is like Jukebox and Nicole, and starting to see like, her involvement again, like with her family, having those drugs on her, and then ultimately Nicole, you know, mistakenly taking one, or again, also the obvious too with Lou and Scrap, like, the series of, all the, it's almost like Scrap is like the representation and the accumulation of all the bad decisions that he's ever had to make. Um, Even Ronnie and Juliana, like
That's what I
how.
was gonna say.
Yep. So what are your thoughts there?
Ronnie is what I think of when I think of this karma stuff, because at the beginning of the season he was sniping everybody. He was like for war, like he was like the
Mhm.
Mr. Boogeyman type character. But now Rock got him, and we didn't even get to see like the emotional fallout of him losing like a romantic partner in that sense. He was just kind of like real angry, real stoic, but really, I mean, what he was reacting to was losing his business. Like that was
Mm,
snatched from him pretty immediately, and that was not as deep as the karma that you're talking about with Lou, because that's like over seasons and stuff like that. But like at least for this season's arc, I think of Roddy.
I agree. Like this whole time, just been causing havoc, just, been constantly like, just trying to undercut others, or, even with his own brother, trying to undermine him in a lot of
Yeah,
ways as well. And how, all of those decisions, just honestly not wanting to just take the time to, honestly listen and really get a feel for what's going on, instead of just expecting and, thinking things have to be exactly how they were in the past. Not no, not just acknowledging that times have changed or things have changed, and, now we just have to approach things a little bit different. Just seeing the, once again, yes, the accumulation of all of that kind of bubble to the surface, and now it's like, okay, now now you don't, like now your business is suffering, or now you're in trouble in terms of this. I mean, I feel as though like just because Snaps and Pop are also kind of threatened too by Rock, will want to probably help him out in that regard to, because now it's almost like the enemy of my enemy is my friend in a way. But at the same time, that was still a major play by Rock. In a
Hell
way to
yeah.
just make Ronnie feel just a little bit of, some of the things that she's been feeling. Because one, yeah,
Become
you took
unique.
her lover,
Yeah, I
right?
was
You
about to
took the
say.
her, and then also too, it's now you're putting again her number one priority, which is Kanan, in harm's way, because nothing, in a way, nothing good comes of working with Ronnie. Like Ronnie is just not the type of person, and even Snaps and Pop were saying that they're like, should we even be working with him? I don't
They're
think
so
it's a good
cute, the two of
idea.
them. I like them together. Their little
They're like
chemistry.
that old school, like even if they are dysfunctional and chaotic, they are not, leaving each other. They are just
No.
together.
He
That's
said, "Don't mess with my 401k." I was like, "Okay." All
it's like
right.
bye. You worried about your 401k when you out here doing this.
Crazy.
But yes, I definitely agree. Like for sure, I think the clearest example specifically in this season was Ronnie, and then all, having Juliana being taken away from him, and then just having to feel that like, okay, like now I'm not the one being the nemesis, it's someone, being the
Right.
nemesis towards me, and I wasn't expecting that. I'm the one, being Michael Myers, going out and just killing everybody
Right.
left, left, right, and third. So yeah, I definitely agree. In some sort of way, even if Snaps and Pop do end up like helping him on the back end, like he's feeling it right now. Like this is still what can happen from all of those things that you have kind of led up to this point.
Right. No, I completely agree. Oh goodness.
What do you think though about Detective Howard's karma? Like I feel as though a
It's
lot of
catching
those
up.
things that even his captain was like, he's a a highly decorated officer, and everybody, or at least for me as like a viewer, I'm just like, boy,
Who
bye.
cares?
Like, he is the worst of the worst.
You know what's so interesting? Having watched some cop shows, I am definitely not like a cop or crime junkie, but like even like shows like True Detective will show you that cops will get awarded for things just simply from by happenstance being a part of it. It's not
Mhm.
like they actually did really great work or detective work to get that. Some do, but it's not like it's like everybody. So it's like, Bull, you said that to try to prove that he has honor. That doesn't make any.
Right.
You could have made those awards happen. Like what?
Exactly. It's like, one, first of all, he's trash. And then second of all, like you said, how he's being, recognized right now may not even be, to the extent that you're really like saying this as. So you could
Exactly.
say that. But it's just funny how he was just like, what? You think I'm in cahoots with drug dealers? What? You think I'm doing
Huh?
this? And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
actually, this is
That's why we're
actually
here. That's what do you think we're doing here?
right. And then I think this whole time too, like Detective Howard, he's just been like, I think the more unassuming character, like he's just like been in the mix, like slowly has been like, just helping them, kind of getting by. Once again, still like looking out for himself first and foremost.
Yeah.
But, just at the same time, just it being in the mix. But now I feel as though like, well, one, Detective Burke, did put a lot of pressure on him, like when she was alive, just starting to figure out a lot of the different pieces and things. But once again, he's had, the backing of the captain, the backing of his whole squad, as to, him being such an honorable man that, a lot of those things kind of get swept under the rug. But now
Right.
that they're really starting to, piece a lot of different things together, and they're not, just going away the way that, I think he's used to, it it just makes it like, okay, like now what are we really going to see him do,
Right.
now that his back is for sure going to be up against the wall. Like they're not letting up. And he's even made that clear. He's like, they're not leaving, until they get something, substantial from this. So whether that's,
Right.
Rock, Marvin, or him, the big three, I guess, as they're like trying to paint this as, because clear, well, like, or Lou, too,
Right.
as well. Like, so I guess big four. um or even if they are somehow some way able to tie this in with Kanan, but still with Kanan being uh like a bit younger, like maybe not trying to pin everything on him. But so it will be interesting to see if he's able to escape this, or I think honestly it might be them like pinning everything on him, so that way they can like protect the
Right.
rest of the family, because he is for sure to them expendable, and
That would
they
be
are for sure
smart.
expendable to him as well. So
That would be smart to me. To
mhm.
me. See, it's like I just don't think Rock's gonna waste the opportunity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you said, like how she is in comparison to Monet, like more future facing, and
Yeah.
like is constantly thinking of like, okay, where, how can this all play out, and
Hmm.
where can we see ourselves 5 years from now, 10 years from
Yep.
now? And I'm definitely for sure know that she has got, in a way, she needs Detective Howard to be like her eyes and ears, so that she can
Exactly.
be like privy to what's actually being said. But as soon as all of that's like said and done, or he's served his purpose, like I'm pretty sure she's gonna serve him up on the platter, very much so.
Absolutely. Before he does to her.
Yes, yes, I think so. And it's like I don't know if he suspects that, or like if, but I think they're both like very sly, and like also too like kind of can go in a way like be future, like future thinking as well. So I think too, it's like either they don't pin it all on Howard, like it's gonna be like a battle between like honestly like who can get to who first, or who can like throw one under the bus first type thing. So
Yeah. I'm not as sure of his Myers Briggs, but I agree with you that he would be in most likely an introvert as well, which would make him even more future thinking than she. But like I feel like she could go toe to toe because she knows how to use people. He sometimes
yeah.
it's just like, listen, I get it, you're doing it for yourself, but I
And
don't know.
again, also his weakness is Kanan as well, because that's his son
Exactly,
too. So
exactly.
I think it's almost like who won't be blinded more by Kanan in all of this?
Right.
Like,
By their
will it
son. Like, oh my goodness.
literally by their son? Who will, be more, I guess, like affected by it, like towards the end? Like, so that will be interesting, because I think they're trying to set that up too. Like, he's been a little bit more unassuming like this whole time. And then, also putting all of the emphasis on like Lou or Marvin. But I feel like, he's going to like come in somehow, some way, and be like a bigger part than what we know as of right now.
I agree.
That will be interesting. And then just even transitioning to like the character analysis, like, and how karma was our theme. I think it ties very heavily, or could even be compared to fate in some sort of
Oh,
degree. And so,
okay.
what do you think about the or the characters in the context of fate? Like, do you think some of these things, even outside of some of the, I guess, decisions that they had to make that kind of led them to the positions that they're in now? Like, do you think some of it though was a bit unforced, or some of those things that they couldn't control and were going to happen, either way? Like, makes me think of like Lou, like even
Yeah, I was
if,
gonna talk about
you
yeah.
know, Scrap didn't die, or they didn't shoot up his studio, like in some sort of way, would he still possibly be in a similar position that he's in now? Like, one, being a person of interest, with the police, and then, again, his livelihood, possibly be, you know, maybe about to die. Like, So are all of, just understanding and acknowledging like the environment and the business that he's in, like, do you think, or even just for the other characters as well, like some of these things were a bit, out of their control?
It's such a great question and such a great like lead into the character analysis because I've been really studying restudying the Myers-Briggs type system for a future video coming up on Hot Nerd Net. Stay tuned, please. But when we're thinking about Lou, you're gonna hate this. Guess what his Myers-Briggs is?
What? I know it's not ISFP. I know it's not me. No, it's not. So don't even go there. Next
Wow,
character? No.
he is an ISFP, but
Lou, why are you
I
doing us
know.
like this then?
I know. The reason why there's such a distinguishment between you and Lou
For
is
sure.
because you are both you guys are both at two different ego development levels. Like
Mm,
you're obviously more mature as an ISFP and have been through far less traumatic circumstances
yes,
than Lou has,
I
and
can attest
and
to that.
grown up.
Yes,
You didn't have to shoot somebody,
I
you
didn't.
didn't have to
No,
like live
I
with
did
that.
not. I didn't.
So, but what this does give us a glimpse into knowing that he's an ISFP is how, ISFPs under extreme stress and, at the lowest ego development level, at their most immature,
Mm,
can act. And some of the, because his dominant function is FI, which is introverted feeling, it's
mm,
like he's kind of doing it to himself, which we see in the show as well. It's not like people are holding him up like, you did this, you did that. It's like he's haunting himself. And it can cause, even here, and I can give the link down below where I'm pulling this from, but it can cause an instability, self
mhm,
pitying, and self righteousness. Those
mm,
are like some of the base, like unhealthy traits of being dominant, introverted feeling. You're
mm.
really just in a passionate way, like intending to or causing a lot of this harm onto yourself. So
It's
yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that like if even if this didn't happen, if he was still in an immature state, anything could have triggered this spiral, and
Got
that's just
it.
his
Yeah.
fate, you know? Yeah,
Yeah. That's an interesting take, because we could definitely see that, very heavily characterized right now, like how he is taking it in a way the hardest. And, to some sort of degree, like you could see Marvin and Rock, you know, also feeling the things that they've done and, being able to acknowledge them, but,
not nearly as much.
able to like, so yeah, but able to cope in some sort of way, or able to at least accept it enough to be able to at least progress and to keep going. But it's definitely very much more stifling for Lou, and to
Absolutely.
his detriment. It's detrimental to Lou. And again, I think it, like you were saying, like because he feels it so heavily, or because he, his level of passion, because it just makes me think too, like if, he was able to then put that sort of passion into his music, like where those things would go, or where his fate, could have landed there. But like we were talking about, just in the context of this environment, and just even the things surrounding him, even if he didn't necessarily want to be a part of this business, or was never a part of it, like even if he did solely focus on music, it's like that's still my family. And just like that cop was trying to say the juke, like, even if you you try to stay far away from your family, like some of their decisions are just going to, also be affect you as well.
Right,
And so I think we're also seeing that too. And just seeing how, even how he tried to change his own fate, I think through music,
right,
and trying to, find a different pathway for for him to have a different outlet. How he's still, where he is, which, like you said, like could have happened or could have been triggered by something
right.
as easily as something else. So
Yeah. Exactly, all of that. And it's like, to your point, it's not like Rock and Marvin don't have that in them. It's just a lot of it is, we talk about the dominant trait is something like you're kind of born innately with. And so it's like it's just not necessarily in them to feel things as deeply as Lou does. And that could be for better or for worse. You know, of course, Lou in
Yeah.
his lighter moments and being able to be such an inspire, like, that's why Famous is relying on him, to be in Jukebox was even relying on him to realize a lot of their creative dreams. He has like true talent in his lighter moments, but it just his fate and really the circumstances that he was born in
Hmm.
have really determined a lot of his, what's going on with him right now.
Right. And how you mentioned like, how Rock and maybe Marvin have, not to say cold, but they have that more, like
They
more of a
do.
personality in that context to um and how some of these things can be beneficial in other circumstances and then, not so beneficial in others. And so we're definitely seeing again too, yes, how this is serving, Rock and Marvin in a better way because, just again, like with the stakes of what sort of business that they're in, like, can't afford to, feel their feelings so much or
Yeah.
so heavily, to the point where, it could almost cause them to, change course, which I think, like you're saying, to Lou's point, it very much well did and
Oh my gosh,
can
yes.
at any point.
It's so funny that you say that because another key piece here is seeking congruency of feeling and action. That's a huge part of introverted feeling. Yeah, and it's like it's deeply connected with each other. Whereas for T's, which both Marvin and Monet fall into, and specifically
And
even Monet, um,
Rock is a T, you said, right?
sorry, my bad. I keep on calling. Yeah, Rock. Both of them. Rock
Oh
and
yeah.
Monet are both. So Rock is an ENTJ. Monet is an ESTJ. I was gonna pull it up to try to
Okay.
share
Okay.
screen,
Okay.
but either way, they when we're thinking about Marvin, I think Marvin's an ESTP.
Mhm.
Um, his T falls in his second function, whereas for Rock, it's her first. Either way, with it being in their first and second, they are a lot colder. They could
Yeah.
be a bit more detached from
Yes.
all of that.
Detached. That is a perfect word, I think. Detach. And I think that's what Rock has been trying to like almost like instill into Lou somehow. Like, can
You
you
need
please,
balance.
yes,
Yeah, you
yes.
need
Can you
balance.
please, you know, stop worrying about that? Like, Scrap is dead. Like he's
It's
not coming
done.
back somehow. So what else can we do besides acknowledge it happened, you know, take responsibility for it, at least to some degree, because of course, they're not going to the police themselves and say that they were responsible, but and just being able to maneuver and to keep going. That has been a huge conversation, I think, across a lot of these recaps. Is just that simple fact is that they can detach. And so,
Yeah.
like you said, like how it's innately like within their personality that this has just been serving them. So, for their fate, like at least, longevity wise, like can actually sustain, and actually be able to, do the day to days
Oh
as,
yeah.
or I think a little bit more easily than I would say, Lou, who, can and has the capabilities too. It's just, can't, like you said, can get thrown off or,
Absolutely.
off course, a little bit easier than I think Rock and Marvin do. And I think though to a degree, like what we've seen specifically with Marvin, um, is that he did though, I think, have to change a little bit of that. And from going from being so detached to like I think having a little bit more feeling and being able to,
Oh yeah.
implement that a little bit more, because we were seeing earlier on though, like when he was very angry and when he was acting more impulsively. Like he was
Absolutely.
like if that was old Marvin with Gerald, he might have killed him, like, in that moment, like, might have, like, choked him out or something like that. Like, that was, who we also knew Marvin to be previously. And so, like you said, how there needs to be a balance. I think Marvin is like trying to, lean into that balance. Like, I can't be so angry all the time and actually, have a sustainable business. But at the same time, like with Lou, it's like, I don't think he's acknowledged yet that in a way I can't have all of these feelings all the time if I want to be able to sustain. And once again, he, has is not a fan of this business, or he doesn't want to do this. But at the same time, it's like, once again, like, your fate, like, this is your family, this is what were probably raised in, this is, a lot of what you just know, and like what, is just going around you. So, just having to balance that, like, well, I don't really
Yeah,
want to do this, and I have a lot of passions and things for something else, and how do I find my balance and all those things? And so, that's also definitely come out for Marvin, and how he's been like, this representation of how you can truly, grow,
oh, yeah,
and how you can,
yeah,
once, be something, and then,
yeah,
take put in the necessary effort and work to, have, I think, a bit more balance. Because of course Marvin, he'll still handle business if what
he can.
somebody needs to get put down, or if something needs to happen, you can count on Marvin to still do it, even though he's in this, more peaceful era, as he likes
Right.
to say it. It's But again, I just think it's just that art of balance that
It
we are
is.
seeing.
It is. It is. It's interesting you say that. I gotta get nerdy on him again. Marvin's an ESTP, and so his third function would be external feeling, and in that sense, um, the third and fourth functions are the hardest to like access. They're usually our weaker traits, but if and when we are able to really balance them and access them and utilize them, it does bring more peace into our life over our more dominant traits. He
Yeah.
can be his most dominant trait is extroverted sensing, which fun fact is you and Lou's. Sorry to put y'all two together, but you and Lou's second dominant
Stop
trait.
saying that. I am not loose.
I was like, Neri's gonna love this when I tell her and bring this up, because I was gonna bring it up without you even asking. But no, he is Marvin is SE first, and
Okay.
so he'll handle some things. He'll handle the external, like present world,
Yep.
very handily, but it can also mean that he's very abrasive, impulsive, just of the
Yep.
moment.
Yep.
With his FE balancing that and also
Mhm.
balancing the thinking piece, that means that he's more so focused on others. He's focused on others' feelings. He's focused on his daughter's feelings. He's focused on
Yes.
Lou's feelings, and
Yeah.
him bringing that into his life shows a level of ego development for him. And if Lou was able to balance out some of his neuroticness, that that
Mhm.
that would be a step forward, for him as well too. They just kind of need to switch sides a bit, learn from
Yes.
each other.
Well, it's interesting. It's like they have like almost did a complete switch. Like you said, we haven't, I don't think, up until this point, I don't think Lou has experienced anything up until this point that has gotten him, I think, to this state
Right.
that he's in. But like previously, it was more so like, okay, Marvin, like you're like, you don't have to, rough him up like that, or like you don't have to be so X, Y, and Z, and like maybe just dial it back just a little bit. Like, we have to stay focused. I mean, of course, I definitely got to give Marvin credit. Like, he's never, I guess, like, lost complete sight of the
Right.
vision, but he was just, there were just little things there where you could definitely tell his anger was getting the most of him. And whereas Lou was very level headed, like, very, like, okay, like, I can rationally see, like, why things have to be this way, or why we have to do X, Y, and Z. But it's like, once again, those triggers, like for Marvin, it was, him going to those classes. He also, the leader, was somebody he was romantically involved with, so they really liked each other. She ended up dying though, but you know how that was, I think his first, like, was a trigger for him to, okay, like, I do like, what comes out of breathing, and how even Rock was making fun of him when she was talking to Jukebox at the dinner, or at when they were talking, like, he's probably doing his little deep breathing exercises and stuff. But
Yes.
it's just that they have done almost like a complete like swap, and so it's just interesting to see that, because it's like you would just never expect Lou. That's why it's like I gotta give Lou some credit, like, okay,
Oh
Lou,
yeah.
I'm not trying to
Well,
we
that's
can
like
be
the
on
circumstances. It's not like, because we
yeah,
were talking about
yeah,
fate, and I think fate has to be the match between what you are inherently born with as far as characteristics, and then the circumstances that
yep,
you end up in, and how you choose to handle it. So like, I'm not
exactly,
saying that Lou is like, a victim of his circumstances, but he definitely chose to do something things.
yes,
But it just, it's a different card that's dealt versus like
yeah.
you, or versus like Rihanna, somebody like other
It's a
types of
different
artists.
rationale, right, that
Yeah,
has to go into that, and it's like, it's unfair to, and I think that's what Lou has been trying to emphasize. Like, yes, I had a choice in a lot of these things, but if given the stakes or given the circumstances, a lot of my choice in it kind of just diminishes very quickly. So
right.
it's like, one, yes, I will still, though, I have to be accountable to acknowledge that, yes, I did not actually have to do that, but who's to say like what would have happened if I didn't? So it's like
Exactly, exactly.
it just all kind of goes, one in the hand. Like, so we this
I
is just
know.
a very enriching conversation. But
I had so much fun. That's why earlier I was like just smiling, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so... I know that's so silly, but I just
you hot nerd.
nerd.
But I know we have already discussed some of our predictions already. But
Oh
do
yeah.
you have any more that come to mind that you think are gonna happen with the finale? Because that is what's coming up.
Okay. So I know I always come out with some out the wall predictions because I haven't seen previous seasons. So get ready. First off, I think that Howard's gonna go down. Now I know I said this about the Force people, like I thought somebody was gonna get caught up by the end, and they didn't. But this time, the dirty cop is gonna go down. I feel like
Mm,
Howard's gonna get into some shit that's gonna be like a cliffhanger type vibe, where it's like there's gonna be some irreconcilable evidence against him made,
mhm,
and so that's one. Two, I think we're definitely going to get some sort of unique something, like some sort of hint at,
mm,
the
right,
status of unique, even if
right,
it's
yeah.
very, very, very slight. Um, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Kanan, because he's kind of like a blurry. Like, I don't know what might happen with Kanan specifically, but
Mm,
with Lou, I don't think they're going to kill him. I think there's going to be a very clever way that they go about it. Because if they were going to do that, they would have done, just even from a writing perspective. Not to say I'm like a very deep into writing or anything like that, but for a TV show script. But I would think that if they were going to carry out an emotional scene like that, they wouldn't like leave that cliffhanger at the end of the episode. They would draw
mhm.
that out. They would make that like an Oscar worthy moment, like crazy drop your jaw. That's like some like drop your draws, but like with
I know.
the
I was like, which one?
oh, drop your jaw and your draws, like some red wedding type shit. Because that's what it's giving. Like
Mm,
for my Game of Thrones fans out there, like you killed Fracture Side. Yeah, no, I don't think like so. I think there's gonna be something else that happens with Lou that's gonna help them out. It's gonna like Lou's gonna be fucking upset, but like he's not gonna die.
mm. Yep. I think that too. I agree. Like, if if you were going to do it, I think it would have been a little bit more clear. But the fact that it's almost like you're just going down a road, like we can't see the the ominous, like the darkness, all of that. Like, I think that that's what they were trying to like paint more. Like, it's unknown, like it's not going to be maybe what you expect, which is what we're thinking
Exactly.
is him going to be put down. So I I agree. I don't think they're going to kill him because, like you said, like Rock had way too many opportunities up until this point to do it. So it's like to do it now, almost when everything has already been said and it's already out in the open, and you guys are already kind of like dealing with it anyways. Like, I just think once again, it would just have to become between him and Kanan, and if somehow, some way it gets to that point where it's either her or Kaden that's in the crossfire, in the crosshairs, like maybe Lou will be expendable then. But
Right.
I don't know. I agree with you. Like, I don't think if they haven't done it, and she didn't do it up until that point, that they're taking him to like their aunt's house or something. I hope that they're doing that.
Because he needs to dry up, okay, and get a reality check. All right, that you could go be famous as a little producer and go make something out of your life.
Right.
So
See,
go do that.
he doesn't even know, like all these things are coming up for him, like all those opportunities. Like, had he been there at the club that he is supposedly trying to invest in and, build back up, it's like, you would have saw that in a way, like all is not lost. Because I think that that's something
Exactly.
that has been constantly repeated by him. Like, you all is not lost because it's so much worse. Like you're saying, like with his passion and how he feels things, like nothing can come out of, everything is just gonna go straight to, you know, up in smoke. But it's like you
Right.
didn't, like, had you been there, like, because he was there earlier, like you said, or like we saw where he's just like, I have to, take a break, or, I'm not going to be here for a while. Like, had you been there though, like that, you might have had that, connection yourself and been able to talk to him and, kind of be able to almost like revive, some of
Hell
those things
yeah.
that you think are, so dead in a way, or, just so far from you. Um,
Exactly.
so with Kanan,
Now,
I don't
please
once
tell
again,
me,
I
what do you
don't
think is
know
going
if he's gonna have enough courage to kill his mother, like, as
No,
he says, but or so they think that he can do.
Cap.
Um, he's like, "Yeah, Dad, I know I said I hate my mom, but I don't think I hate her that much." But, he's trying to paint that picture that he does, and it's like, "It don't matter, I can put her down too." It's like, I don't think he's gonna do that, but
They all gonna call cap on him too. I feel like they're gonna try to turn on him like a double cross,
mm,
like tell him to do it, but then basically, kind of like Malfoy and Harry Potter for my Harry Potter heads, but like basically know that he'll fail and like have some sort of backup plan for it.
or like even like use him as like like
A
a
decoy.
yes, to draw, like
Yes.
to draw Rock in so that they can take her out. That's what
Hell
I
yeah.
guess it could definitely
Yep.
happen. And
Hell
then,
yeah.
then Kane is just sitting there like,
Like, I
dang,
made it happen, but I didn't make it
yeah,
happen. Yeah. Yep.
exactly. Yep.
Yep.
That's what I think. Also, Marvin, I hope he doesn't get everything pinned on him. He doesn't deserve that. I mean, not to say Marvin hasn't done some of those heinous things, but at the same time, it's like Marvin's growth is, enough for,
Very beautiful.
just leave him alone. And
Yeah.
yes, and for Juke, it's like,
I have
I
thoughts.
don't want to see this final episode with
I
her
know
just
what's
because,
gonna happen.
you know, her singing career basically in the dubs. So, okay, what do you think?
I think what's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen and how she. Okay, you're gonna have to fill the blanks of the whole academy piece, but like I think that she's gonna be on her way to stardom, and then the FBI, because they're not able to pin down her brother, is gonna put Nicole's death on her.
Wait, what brother? Wait, no, you mean
Sorry,
her father?
her father. My bad. Because they can damn, because they can't pin Nicole or anybody anything on her father, they're gonna make them pay and be like, "Well, you think you're so slick? I'm gonna put that death on you." You gave her the drugs.
Oh no,
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah.
no,
You
no.
gave her the drugs, and we're taking you away, or you're gonna have to do something. You're not gonna be able to go do your singing stuff.
Right.
That's what's gonna do it.
No, 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 no. Juke doesn't deserve that. Juke really okay. It's almost like Marvin. Yes, if you God, for some of those things you did,
Why?
okay. But Jukebox truly and wholeheartedly did not do anything. So I would be that would hurt. That would hurt. But they're almost still painting this picture too, like, like since Marvin is like quote unquote the honorable, person in this family, like he might, take the L for everyone. I don't know though. I
Might.
don't
I
he
can see
may,
either or.
he
For
may.
his daughter, I think he
I
would.
think so. Exactly. So if it does end up like how you just said, like now it's coming, like, okay, if we can't pin it then on Marvin, then we're gonna pin it on Juke. Then I think he would definitely be like, okay, no, like I'm not gonna,
Exactly.
let that happen. Like
Exactly.
I'll just take the heat for that. But still, both of them, it's like, no, there's other pin it on Ronnie, or
Right.
right, pin it on them. Pin it on Snaps and Pop. I don't care. Like, but just
Exactly.
not them.
Exactly.
Ugh. But yes, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the finale brings.
Let's
But yes,
see
that is a wrap for
tomorrow.
this week's. Right, I know. So I'm excited for that. But that is a wrap for this week's recap. Thank you again, Syd, for joining
So
us and
fun.
giving
Thank you, Hot
all
Nerd
the
D.
personality details. That was definitely a great touch. So pleasure to have you. Don't be a stranger. Come back next week if
I
you want to
will.
discuss
I would
what
be
happened.
down just to like and also share more, on the screen, show y'all what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes, please. Please do. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with all things Hot Nerd Network. And again, remember to stay tuned for next week's recap, Power Book 3 Raising Kanan. We can't wait to see where the finale takes us and how the story ends. But until then, stay nerdy, folks.
Peace out.